Good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to another episode of Critique Corner with me, Daniel Parker.
And me, DB Fastbinder. After kind of a quiet episode last week, we've definitely cranked up the varied and disparate nature of our show this week's with this week's samples.
Yes, we have. Yes, we. In the words of Ed Sullivan, we got a really big shoe. Really big shoe. Uh, sorry, bad impression.
You got the shoe down.
The shoe. Yeah. But if you are returning, welcome back. If you're new, what we do here is we critique stuff. And as DB said, we've got an eclectic roster tonight. We're moving out of our 2B era of reviews because I think we've mined it pretty well, or
at least we are paying for streaming services too, so we might as well actually make use of them.
Right? Yeah, because Netflix is raising their prices again. So yeah, but to get us started off this week, we are talking about Spies Like Us.
Spies Like Us. This movie is kind of interesting insofar as I know I've seen big chunks of it before, but man, is it also unfamiliar, but familiar at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like you. Yeah, I've seen like bits and pieces of it here and there, but I've never actually sat down and watched it from beginning to end. It's kind of somewhat of a forgotten 80s comedy from John Landis, who, of course, we've reviewed a few John Landis movies here. We've done Animal House, Trading Places. Trying to think what else we did. Have we done Three Amigos? I don't think we did Three Amigos yet.
We haven't, and that would be next on the list, I would think.
Yeah. But he's also done like Blues Brothers. We did Blues Brothers. But he's also done other stuff like Coming to America and did one of the segments of the Twilight Zone movie. Was
it the one with the chop?
Yeah. I can't remember. So one of the stars of the movie is Chevy Chase, and I don't know if it was this movie or I think it was Three Amigos when Chevy Chase, of course, for those of you who are unfamiliar, Chevy Chase is a bit of an asshole and difficult to work with. And I guess he really ticked off John Landis, and Landis said to Chevy Chase, I'm going to kill you. And Chevy Chase's response was, with what? There are no helicopters around.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is not how you make friends and influence people.
No, it is not. But to get to this movie, actually, another quick note. Apparently, I heard somewhere that this was one of the movies that Dan Aykroyd, he was one of the writers on the movie. He was also the other star. He actually wrote this movie for himself and John Belushi.
Oh,
yeah. And of course, as most of you know, John Belushi passed away a couple of years before this movie came out, and so he couldn't do it with Belushi, much like with Ghostbusters.
In this case, I'm going to be a little heretical and say that I think Chevy Chase actually fits this character better.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and I think although I think if Belushi had been in it, the character would have been completely different. It would have been written for him.
Right. Like, who knows how much of what was going on was Chevy doing little improvs.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to get to this movie, of course, it's in the mid 80s, the height of the Cold War. And so the CIA is trying to get to these nukes that are hidden in this mountain range in the Soviet Union. And of Of course, every time they try to send agents out there, the KGB already knows that they're coming and kills them. So they're like, okay, well, what do we do? So these CIA guys and the military guys come up with a plan that, okay, well, why don't we send two agents and then we'll send two other agents in who are going to be decoys. But the problem is agents like that don't grow on trees and it's very expensive to train them. So what they do is they just pluck a couple of just nobody idiots or people they think they're idiots and train them to be spies or quote unquote train them to be spies and send them on the mission. And that's Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase.
Yeah, and they're definitely playing into their comedic wheelhouses. Dan Aykroyd is like the power of turbo autism. Is the only way I
Yes.
could think of to describe his character.
Which is pretty much every character he plays in every movie.
Yes, but this is even more so. Like he's just so utterly on the spectrum, so utterly like he knows everything about everything.
Yeah.
Just casually. Like the only he they show him in like his first scene is he ends up using a decoder ring from a cereal box to help him decode Russian transmissions.
Yeah.
And his boss, who was very tired of his show of like him showing off his brains all the time, goes, "Run it through the machine." I did.
Yeah.
It was right,
Yeah.
or something along those lines.
Yeah. And yes, and then Chevy Chase's character, he works in the State Department. Very
The key detail. The reason he looks like an idiot is because his boss didn't tell him that he would put him up for this agent's test until the exact day before the test. So even
Yeah.
he needs time to prepare for properly for it.
right, yes, because Chevy Chase's character is, he's this low level guy working in the State Department, and the only reason like he got his job is because his father and grandfather were all State Department guys. And so he's taking the test as well. And of course, his buddy that's sitting across from him is like, it's like 500 questions and you only have 2 hours to complete the test. And he's like, I'll be fine. And of course, the reason he says that is because he goes in with a foolproof, quote unquote, plan to cheat.
Yes, in a very obvious way.
Yeah. Yeah, and the test proctor, by the way, is played by Frank Oz.
Okay, I didn't recognize him without the Muppet.
Yes, without Miss Piggy or Fozzie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so because of their antics during the test, because Chevy's like asking him Aykroyd for help. He's like, "What does KGB stand for?"
Yeah, and so of course they're plucked out. Their training is complete ridiculosity.
Yes.
Not just ridiculousness, ridiculosity, a word that isn't even a word, because they had them face ninjas. They put them in like what must be like asbestos suits and roast them with flamethrowers. Like they are just having complete fun with these guys.
Oh yeah, and they put them in the G-force tester, and their faces get all.
Yeah. So then they're flown out to Pakistan, and so I think this is one of Chevy Chase's funnier roles. Like I was just giggling the whole time. Like
Yeah.
they land in this Pakistani village, and he's nervous, so he pulls out Pashto to English book, and like he says, "Eh, eh, if you spare me, you may use my friend's head as a soccer ball."
Yeah. And they're all grabbing his head, like, like, what are they doing? Oh, that's just their way of saying hello.
So from there, you just have like a series of misadventures, and what really struck me as this is more of a road to comedy than Ishtar was.
Yeah. Yes, and that point is driven home by the very random Bob Hope cameo.
Yep. Because like they just have to go through a variety of of random situations. Like at one point, they show up at a Doctors Without Borders type thing, and
Yeah.
they pretend to be these two doctors who they were expecting,
Yeah.
which leads to the famous doctor, 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 doctor scene.
Yes. And one of the doctors was actually played by Terry Gilliam.
Okay,
Yeah. And
that tracks.
yeah, and of course, but they find out that the two of the doctors in there are actually the spies. They're the other the real spy team that's in there, and one of them is a woman played by Donna Dixon, who was in Wayne's World. She was Garth's the dream girl at the donut shop. And after I think probably after this movie was when she and Dan Aykroyd got married.
One thing I will say that this was like the scene where he keeps trying to hit on her, or Chase keeps trying to hit on her,
Yeah.
like throughout. Like, okay, I can believe that some random woman would find Chevy Chase at least like somewhat interesting.
Yeah.
Belushi, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a lot harder. Although, Carrie Fisher was, trying to kill him in Blues Brothers because he jilted her, so I mean
Yep.
it's possible. I mean that's
I'm not saying
and
it's not impossible. It's just it's less
improbable. Yeah. It's
probable.
less
Yeah.
believable. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like the thing with these comedies is, I always feel like we don't necessarily need to do a blow by blow of the plot,
Yeah.
because like it would just be describing humorous incidents and then chuckling to each other.
Yeah.
Like if we really are talking deeply about the plot of a comedy, it's probably a comedy that didn't work, and we're trying to explain why the premise didn't fit.
Yeah.
Um, like this is one of the better Landis comedies that I've seen, in my opinion. Although I do have the heretical opinion of not being the biggest fan of Animal House, but
Mm.
um,
Mm. I won't hold that against you.
uh, I'm amazed that you still associate with me after I
I
admitted that.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I will say that there is a good deal of intelligence to the overall plot, which that's the thing about Aykroyd, is that whatever else you want to say about him, his movies usually hold together pretty well. Like
Yeah.
just for example, at first it looks like it's just a comedic thing where they're asked to perform a surgery when they're doing Doctors Without Borders, but you realize that the reason that the quote unquote lady doctor would ask them to perform the surgery was because she's an agent. She can't perform the surgery.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
So if she actually believes that they're doctors at the time, then uh, like
Yeah.
from her perspective, phew, dodged a close one there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. I mean, this was definitely one of the better comedies, especially with Chevy Chase, because like you, I'm not the biggest fan of Chevy Chase, but I think why it works here is because he's got Aykroyd to play off of. He's fine if he's got somebody else to play off of. When it's just him, like in Fletch, it's like,
Yeah,
eh,
like,
eh.
well, he's great when he's has someone to play off of. He also works really well when you um, give the character a scenario where his quips kind of make sense. Like that was my big complaint with Fletch, was that he kept doing these things that would just end his mission if somebody actually was paying attention.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas here, it's like, okay, the jokes usually are sensibly placed, or it's like, okay, you can see why he's hitting on this woman, even though it has nothing to do with the mission, or getting out alive, even.
Right. Yeah.
So I would say this is a recommend.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the again, like I like this one quite a bit, just because um, I tend to like comedies where there's like a driving goal behind it.
Yeah.
And so in this case, having the firm mission helps keep the nonsense in a direction. Like they can't hang around too much.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
Whereas like
yeah,
like
yeah,
the opposite of that approach would be something like Joe Dirt, where it's just, oh, this is the life and times of this guy.
yeah. No, yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Yeah, yeah, I definitely recommend it. Currently on Tubi.
Which means you will have to deal with the occasional commercial, but it's free.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, I have no transition.
Yeah.
Monty Python and the Meaning of Life.
Yes. Yeah, this is my solo review. This is okay. So now I have there's only one Monty Python movie I haven't seen yet, and that was the first one, which was called "And Now for Something Completely Different," and that was that movie is basically just it was basically recreation of their famous sketches from Flying Circus. This movie is also a sketch one, but it has the theme of where they're talking about the meaning of life. Um, and it's it's typical Monty Python absurdity and surrealism. um and I remember I actually watched a documentary series about Monty Python, kind of like a retrospective. And this was by the way, this was the last Monty Python movie that they did, because by this point, like they'd all basically kind of gone off to do their own things. And so they're just like they've kind of they basically moved on from it. Like Terry Gilliam, for instance, had already started directing movies on his own. By the way, he directed the opening short to at the beginning of the movie, and when you watch it, you can tell it's him just by the way the shot compositions are and everything. um but um but yeah, so the movie is basically just a series of skits interconnected with the theme, talking about the meaning of life. You've got one segment about birth, and they show they have Cleese and Graham Chapman in there, doing a delivery, and it's just really weird. Like, oh, bring in the machine that goes beep 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 beep. Okay, tick, beep 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 beep. They're like, oh, bring in the other machine. Oh yeah, yeah, that one cost 30,000 pounds. Oh yeah, yeah. And so there's that bit, and then of course then there's one of the famous songs from the movie. Every sperm is sacred.
Every sperm is great.
Because Michael Palin and Terry Jones, who plays the wife, they're Catholic, and they have like 50 kids, and they're like, oh, Catholic Church, they won't let me wear the rubber, so I can keep having kids. um, and I'm trying to remember that, and then, of course there's the other one with the fish, where they're all swimming around, with their heads transposed on fish bodies, and then he also,
I know I've seen this movie, but that bit just did not stick with me.
yeah, well, it's very quick. I mean, it's only like, it's not very long, little bit in there. Of course, then they have the I wonder where that fish did go.
Oh, that's what that's from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A fish, a fish, a fishy. Oh. Um, and but the bit that I think was probably the funniest was the Mr. Creosote skit. um, they're in this like beautiful, fancy French restaurant, all the French waiters everywhere, and then you got Terry Jones walking in wearing this ridiculously huge fat suit. He's just waddling in. And Cleese is the waiter, and he's like, oh, Mr. Creosote, welcome here. And you're like, oh, give me a bucket, I'm gonna throw up. And then they put the bucket down, he's just and of course all the other diners are just like, oh god.
It's like you said, like it has a loose theme, but no like no real storyline, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and yeah, it's not like Holy Grail or Life of Brian where there's a central plot to the movie. And I will say like it's I mean overall it's there's some of the skits are pretty funny. Some of them were kind of like, "Oh, okay, that was all right." There was
Eh,
there's one in there that was really dark where you had Cleese and Graham Chapman playing these guys who go in to take Terry Gilliam's liver. It's just like oh, they take out his wallet and they're like, oh, what? Pull out his license or ID or whatever. He's like, what's this? Like organ donation card. Yeah, that's right. All right, come on. they just cut his liver out while he's still alive, and you just the blood's dripping everywhere. I'm like, oh, good. But yeah. Um, but I will say it's not as good as Holy Grail or Life of Brian. I would say Holy Grail is probably my favorite Python movie.
eh, I have to agree with that. I'll say that this actually kind of ties into what I said with Spies Like Us, is that comedy movies are kind of like in the movie format are benefited by having a driving through line of a storyline.
Yeah, 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 and that's definitely the weakest part of this movie. Yeah, because it's just nothing but skits. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure for those of you out there who are Python fans, they've probably already seen this movie.
Mm.
Um,
So that's an actually interesting question. If somebody wasn't a Python head, would this be where you'd start them?
no, I would start him with Holy Grail. Yeah,
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Or maybe like go catch an episode of it because it's streaming in a few places at all times.
yeah, yeah. Um, this movie was on Netflix. I actually watched it on the last day, which was on April 30th. So it's not on there anymore, but as DB said, it'll pop up on another streaming service somewhere. Same with the other movies and Flying Circus.
Maybe even Tubi. Who knows? That
Yeah,
that seems like exactly the sort of thing where it would end up on Tubi intermittently.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And let's just say some of the Python guys probably need the money, so
Yeah.
yeah. They actually did it was back in 2016, 2017. They did their last live show, which is like a week long thing. And the reason they did it, well, the joke reason they said was because they needed to pay Terry Jones's mortgage. But the reality was that they had a lawsuit where they were being sued by one of the producers of Holy Grail over like the royalties and the licensing and everything. Apparently it really dragged out for a long time. And Cleese said, "Yeah, we should have just settled with the guy." Yeah, because they just blew through all their money, so they had to do this show to recoup their losses. But yeah, yeah.
Yep. So I don't have a good transition to this, but and I'm really just failing this week.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. I suppose I could throw in some sort of generic transition. Speaking of generic,
Yes.
Daemons of the Shadow Realm.
Yes. Yeah, so
So,
it's a new anime. Yeah.
as we like to do, we dipped our toes into Crunchyroll because a buddy and I happened to watch the first two episodes of this, and then I asked Daniel, "Hey, I'm going to talk about this. Do you want to do the 3 episode rule on this?" And he said, "Sure," because
Sure.
Daniel is a real trooper.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I had to take a break from Final Fantasy VII, Rebirth, and Cyberpunk. So
Yep. So this is, I don't have her name out here. So it's from the creator of Full Metal Alchemist originally, Hiromu Arakawa. And this is, she's done a couple of things since then. Like there was some anime I've seen a little bit of where it was people at a farm college or an agricultural college.
Mm.
That was kind of interesting, like just very slice of life, very different than Full Metal Alchemist, which here's another of my heretical things here. I know FMA is like a lot of people's foundational anime. Never really vibed with me.
Not even Brotherhood.
I never gave Brotherhood a shot. Like my
Yeah.
main issues with it were more just that I was actually reading the manga originally,
Uh,
and I got through volume 5, and like I said, do I care about these characters?
okay. Well, you probably might not like Brotherhood because I think Brotherhood followed the manga more closely than
Right.
the other. Yeah.
I don't know that I got far enough into the manga to be able to tell you what the differences are.
Uh,
I think it's just like there are just some things that don't appeal to your particular nerdery, and this is my weirdness. But
yeah.
now, so when I'm slightly critical of this, I'm not a jilted fan. I'm more just like I think I could be kind of objective because I could see somebody who really loved FMA trying to convince themselves that this was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's very it is very straightforward, I will say, at least in the first 3 episodes.
And that's the thing that was weird to me is that one of the things about FMA was that it was very good at establishing the characters very quickly, and you understood what their deal was, what their personalities were like, what their foibles were. Um, Daniel, I'm going to give you the quick test from Red Letter Media's review of The Phantom Menace.
Okay.
Describe the main character Yuru without referring to his physicality or role in the story.
Um, yeah, I'm having a hard time.
The best I can do is he is flummoxed by modern technology.
Yeah. Yes, and the of course the reason for that is because he lives in so the it starts off where yeah, he's living in a village that's basically like feudal Japan, and but in reality it's being hidden, shrouded by a barrier, and it takes place in the modern world because and they always see the like planes flying over and they're like, oh, it's dragons.
Right? Oh, look, it's the dragon's trail, and you can hear its roar, which, like, the jet engine they interpret to be the dragon's roar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I was to like sit down with the creator of this, and she asked my opinion for whatever reason, like what do I know compared to her?
Uh,
I would say that we needed what amounts to an episode 0, where and I'm going to draw a comparison here to another anime that I think has one of the stronger openings, at least like establishing the setting and characters. Naruto. This will be one of the only times I praise Naruto's writing. So yeah, just take it as you will. But by the end of that first episode, you know what Naruto's deal is. You know what his stakes are. He's trying to prove himself to the rest of the village. You know he has the demon inside of him. He manages to achieve his goals, and or he achieves his goal of learning the technique and saving the day. So, and that just all happens in one episode. In 3 episodes, like I'll not quite the Phantom Menace test, but like what has Yuru actually accomplished on his own besides just the plot dragging him along?
yeah. Well, I mean, he shoots some people with arrows.
Oh, very good. All right, so that's kind of like the meta, or not the meta analysis. So that's like the big picture analysis. But um, and I admit to being slightly confused about what this was actually supposed to be about, because it's got a lot of ideas it's pulling together. So you've got basically M. Night Shyamalan's The Village, but with a Japanese flavor, where you have this isolated community who actually, now that I think about it, I assume that some people in the village knew about the outside world because Yuru's parents fled with his twin sister when uh, he was very young.
Yes, and why they fled with her and not him too, I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like kind of makes them seem like they're awful. Like it's, I mean, presumably we would find out at some point why, but as of episode 3, we haven't yet.
Yeah.
Which that seems to be the mystery plot. Which, like, why was he left behind? And the weird thing was that his little sister was being kept in a cage because of some dark curse inside of her, supposedly. Well, it's because there was some sort of demon blood monster who was pretending to be her.
Yeah. Yeah, and the grandmother is like, hiding something.
Which I know that's not very specific, but that's as good as I can get, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. And then then they also have these spirits. What were they called?
I'm gonna assume Daemons.
Damon said yes, Dan. Right, of course, Damon's was shown. Yeah, they have these Damons who and so they got so he has these two Damons, and they're just called left and right. Left is a woman, right's a man. And like only people who can control these Damons can see them.
Except for a few people who can as well. And boy, this sure is making me think of a certain bizarre adventure. Except that he has 2 stands instead of 1.
Yes.
Which, like, when I was watching it, so everybody has 2 stands apparently.
Yes.
Like it's always pairs. And when they were showing like the opening theme and they had pictures of the characters together, I kept thinking to myself, that's a strange detail.
Yeah.
Just because that means you're double, like every time you add one character who has this power or has these daemons, you're effectively adding 3 characters. So that's going to like bloat the cast quite a bit.
Yeah. It's causes all sorts of problems. Yeah.
But anyway, so like his twin sister, who now has an eye patch and is taller, but which I mean, he is taller or she is taller than, I think, taller than him, and at very least taller than everybody else in the village, because modern diet versus rice without millet is a luxury.
Right. Yeah.
It's like they attack the city, or they attack the town with helicopters. And what was the sister commanding the attack, or was she just part of the attack? I wasn't entirely clear.
It sounded like she was commanding it.
Right. And just gunning down every adult. Left the kids alive, so I guess that's okay.
Yeah.
And there's a girl who I suspect would be, people who liked this would probably like her the best, who's basically a female version of Edward Elric.
Yeah.
Whose daemon is like a set of false teeth.
Yeah, and she's got the same hair color, eye color, and wears a red robe, and
yeah.
Although she's not voiced by Vic Mignogna.
I know that he's kind of persona non grata in the anime voice industry right now,
Yeah.
but how hilarious would it be to bring him in just to voice a girl like that?
Yeah. And then have everybody calling her short. Short.
But
Yeah.
I think what this show really needed, and that they do escape, they end up at a rest stop. Two characters who actually do have a little bit of personality are a couple of agents of whatever mysterious organization is opposing the twin sisters' mysterious organization.
Yeah.
And those are, here was it, Dara and Hana.
Yeah.
Dara was like in the village as like a long-term plant, as like kind of like a father figure to him after his dad left. Hannah is the one who drives them away. And they probably have the funniest bit in the episodes where they're talking about, like, well, what'll our cover story be while Yoru lives with us? Like,
Yeah.
and Dara's like, oh, clearly we have to get married. She's like, no, I'm getting married to Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Which, like, that was pretty good. Like that. Honestly, I would be much more interested in watching a show about those two than our actual main cast.
Yeah.
Because I think I made a reference to this. The show kind of needed an episode 0. We needed a episode 0 where we just see life in the village, and like we could establish some of his friendships with the people who are about to get gunned down. We could hint that there are secrets that he isn't fully aware of. And then at the end of episode 1, or episode 0 in this case, then you show the plane flying overhead that he thinks is a dragon.
Right.
So then the audience has like an episode to go, wait, what?
Yeah.
As opposed to, it would be like if in M. Night Shyamalan's The Village, in like Act 1, somebody goes, oh, by the way, it's 2000.
Yeah.
Or no, it would be like if somebody like started playing their Nintendo DS or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's not fun mystery in this show is I think my biggest issue with it.
Yeah, it's just kind of meh.
And it's weird again because like it's not making any mistakes that I would have expected from the creator of Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
Because like I can recognize quality even if it didn't vibe with me, and this just doesn't have it. Now maybe it turns around, but it's weird that it would have to turn around.
Yeah, you have to hook them in, at least by the third episode.
Actually, here's another weird thing. Full Metal Alchemist also had a good episode 0 arc, basically, that dropped you in media res with our heroes already on their journey, and you learn about them, and you basically learn about them in the course of them dealing with this corrupt priest character. Like, I don't know. Like, I keep saying that every time I watch anything that Rumihiko Takahashi, the creator of Ranma 1/2 and Inuyasha, is involved in, I keep going, why have you continued to make manga the last 20 years? You're not making anything good. Which feels very mean to say, but
Yeah.
I dare you to watch Renee's first episode and not come away in a catatonic state.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's Inuyasha again, but without the fun of Inuyasha. Cool.
Next.
Yeah. So yeah, not a great follow-up effort. It honestly, and this is like the most bog standard criticism you could make of anything these days. It feels like you threw a bunch of concepts into Sora and asked it to come up with a series.
Yeah.
Grok, what should my anime be about?
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really recommend it. Really,
No, if you're going to watch a seasonal anime, although I suppose it's, gosh, because time keeps moving forward, it's last season now. Go give Sentenced to Be a Hero a shot. That one has cool animation and a neat premise, and funny characters. So and
Yeah.
not so funny characters, but in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta get back into that show.
Me too. I'm like 4 or 5 episodes in.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes you try out a new anime and you come up Snake Eyes. That's just life in the Crunchyroll casino.
Yes.
Speaking of, we watched another Scorsese film,
Yes,
Casino.
Casino. Yeah.
So Daniel, let me tell you about the new Scorsese movie I watched. It's
Yeah.
about a guy who starts off at the bottom rung of a shady enterprise, rises to a position of prominence, has a toxic marriage with a hot blonde, usually, um, who turns to drugs because of the stress of being married to him. Um, he acts too big for his britches. The feds catch on. He's cast down, and there's like a 2/3 chance of Joe Pesci being around as a crazed mob enforcer.
uh, was that Goodfellas?
It could also except for the Joe Pesci angle, it could also possibly be Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with the hot blonde wife.
Yep.
But yes, so I guess you could call this the second part in the Martin Scorsese true story gangster trilogy. Um, so, which is, and of course, all three of those movies are based on a true story. But yeah, so Casino is the mob movie set in Las Vegas in the 1970s and 80s, back when the wise guys were running the town, and and I will say Vegas was actually a great place to visit when the wise guys were running the town, which I know might seem hard to believe, but no, it was.
As long as you didn't run afoul of them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because like for instance, like everything was pretty affordable there. Like you could get a hotel room at a decent rate. Food was reasonably priced. I mean, you could get like prime rib for like good prime rib for like $6. Which back in the 70s and 80s, that was not that was a pretty good deal there. Um, and you go see a show and all that stuff, and all of that was because they wanted you in the casino gambling. So whatever money they lost on food or hotel rooms or anything like that, they just made up for it in the casino.
Right. It
um,
was the loss leader.
right, yeah. And of course this movie is the story of one of the big casino managers in the movie. His name is Sam Ace Rothstein, who's played by Robert De Niro. And as DB alluded to, he was started very low in this mob organization, which has different locations. I think in real life, it was based in. I think the main people were in Chicago, but then they also had people in Kansas City. And the reason they're in Kansas City was because that was the closest city in the Midwest they could be. That was close to Las Vegas without them getting into trouble. Um, and so basically, De Niro, he starts off at the bottom of this. He's a bookie, and he's like a really good bookie. And of course, he's best friend.
According to a historical video that Daniel showed me, he actually was responsible for bringing sports betting into Vegas.
Yeah, which still a big thing there. Yeah, and of course, sports betting is legal now in the United States. You can thank old Sam. What was his real Rosenthal? Yeah, Sam Rosenthal. But yeah. So then, so Sam's also got his buddy Nikki Santoro, who is played by Joe Pesci, and so De Niro, Sam, he gets gets called out to run this casino in Vegas called the Tangiers, which is not a real casino.
Right. It's like how in some biopics they'll create a character who's like a composite of a few different people. In this case, it was a composite of the 4 casinos that De Niro's character ran in real life.
Right. So yeah, it was like it was the one of them was the Stardust, which I've actually been in the Stardust, um, which
I
is
think I
supposed to
have
start.
too.
Yeah, I think they tore that down like a long time ago,
Oh, then never mind.
uh, but um, but but yeah, well, the Stardust was actually where I saw Don Rickles, who's also in this movie. Um,
I think that I heard they also tore Don Rickles down too, but he did it to plenty of other people. So
yeah, that's true. Yes, he did. Yeah. um, and but yeah, so he's running the Tangiers, and of course, one of the aspects of it that I thought was actually true was that in order it's true is that in order to work in a casino, run a casino, you have to have a license to do it. It's sort of like having like I used to own a business that sold alcohol. You have to have a liquor license. So if you work in a casino, you have to have a license for work in a casino. And but the thing is, of course, he's like, well, they're not going to give me a license because of his mob connections. So they're like, oh, don't worry about it. You just fill out the application, and you could still do the job while the application is being processed, and then you just change your job title, and then get a new application because
right,
there's
it's like, oh, and the waiting list is 10 years long. So
right, yeah. And so that was a workaround that he had, and so he starts running this casino, and the big part of it too is the most of it is just him setting everything up, and of course like the fact that the mob family that he's working with, they get their cut, so they show the guy like putting the money in the bag, in the back room where they keep all the money, and they're like, oh yeah, I see, nobody sees them doing it because they're all busy doing all their other stuff. They're like, oh, I didn't see anything. Yeah.
yep. So like outside of it following the Scorsese anti-hero's journey, as I'll term it now, it's also like the real history is like the story of how the mob lost Vegas.
Yeah.
Because now this may shock you. This may startle and confuse you, but Joe Pesci's character is a bit of a loose cannon who may have brought additional heat on themselves that wasn't strictly necessary.
Yes.
I know this will startle you and confuse you. And I would say it's almost like he and Scorsese were trying to like outdo his character from Goodfellas.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He really liked bashing people's heads in with a phone receiver.
Yep. And like one scene, there's like an informant who they're trying to squeeze. They squeeze him literally.
Yes. Oh god, yeah. They put his head in a vice.
It's like, I put a head in your vice, you blankety blank.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, so and so, you're working with so and so. You maybe put your head in a bleeping vice for pop your eye out for so and so.
Oh, he stabbed him in the testicles with an ice pick.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, he's a loose cannon, and of course he's going around all these casinos running his little hustle, trying to getting money out of there, and of course De Niro keeps warning him like, you keep doing this, you're going to get banned from all these casinos, and you're going to end up in the black book,
right. With Capone.
Yeah. And then of course the other aspect of it too is with Sharon Stone's character. What was her name? Ginger. And
that storyline is it's like the epitome of don't try to turn a hoe into a housewife.
Yes, yeah, yes, yeah. So yeah, yes, Ginger is a working girl who's also a hustler, and Sam, sees her working, and he just immediately falls in love with her, and it's like, dude, really? You're
No.
yeah, like
Especially one who has been in love with her pimp, played by James Woods, since she was 14, with, quote, those stupid braces.
yeah, yeah. Ugh, ugh. Oh yeah, James Woods in this movie is a real slime ball.
And he does a good job of it.
He does, yeah, he does. Um, and but yeah, it's yeah. So the movie is basically just like, yeah, the as we said, the rise and fall of him, with his empire, and then of course, yeah, the fall of the mafia in running Las Vegas, and and there are a lot of, like, of course, like a lot, like with Goodfellas and Wolf of Wall Street, there are like montages of different happenings that go on in the casino. Like for instance, um, uh, there's one of the guy running the slot machine manager who he's only working there because like his brother is the county commissioner and he's related to a whole bunch of people. But the problem is he's a real idiot, and
Yep. And people keep scamming him all the time.
right, and he's played by Joe Bob Briggs.
Which I'm not being as big of a Briggs aficionado as you. I didn't notice, but that's kind of hilarious because what at the time, even at the time, he was just known as the
Horror host, yeah.
yeah, like late night horror host guy.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is not how you treat people, Mr. Rothstein. And of course, my one, I will say, my one complaint about the movie was that we didn't get enough Don Rickles, being Don Rickles.
Right, like his usual insult comic self.
Right? Yeah, yeah. He's just very, matter of fact. Um,
You know what?
yeah.
Okay, so sidebar. I listened to a commentary track with the Simpsons writers once,
Yeah.
where they actually tried to get Don Rickles on the show,
Oh.
um, and he was a bit of a crank.
Okay.
So, um, of course, so the joke was going to be that he'd be doing like an insult show, and rather than and he'd like see Homer start making fun of him. And the joke was that Homer was just going to be playfully delighted at this roasting.
Yeah.
And so, like you do when you're writing a guest spot for a guest star, you
Yeah.
think about, okay, like what's his general style of humor? We'll do something like that. And so they wrote down they wrote up a few like Don Rickles style insults for him to use, like, and sent it along to him to approve and thought nothing of it. And Rickles apparently got super pissed off because he thought they had like actually plagiarized his bits.
Oh.
So that tanked that guest star right there.
Oh man. Oh. Oh, that's too bad. Oh,
Yep, that could have been a fun episode, but
yeah.
yeah, just too sensitive, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
Which is,
well,
but some people can dish it out, but they can't take it.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, he, of course, there is a scene where, where Pesci's bashing his head in with a phone.
Yeah.
Just like, God, jeez.
Oh, sure, you won't be in The Simpsons, but you'll be in this.
Oh, yeah. Man. The other thing, I will say, the other part I did like though was the banter between De Niro and Pesci. When they're like arguing about stuff, like the scene when they're out in the desert. Like, hey, I need to talk to you out in the desert. Basically tells them the code for I need to talk to you out in the desert. And like, oh,
Yep.
because you go out to the desert, you're like, oh, yeah, that's where they dump the bodies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I would say it's overall enjoyable. I think if I was
Mhm.
going to rank it in that trilogy, the trilogy of what we've seen of based on a true story Scorsese movies,
Yeah,
I think my personal tier list would still be um, Wolf of Wall Street first, just because it's the most funny um, uh, and what's his name? DiCaprio gave like a career winning, like career top performance that really should have gotten him the Oscar.
yeah, yeah,
Um, then I would probably put Goodfellas over this one just for length.
yeah.
But this one is still very good. Like if you're 9.7 out of 10 and the one above you is 9.8 or 10, then like you're doing fine.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I would. For me, I would probably flip Goodfellas and Wolf of Wall Street. I put Goodfellas over Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, but that's not to diss this movie. I mean, this movie was really good too.
Yeah,
Um,
I would say that, you know what? I think the biggest difference is that this one, like the other two, in my opinion, the rise and fall was more caused by the character's foibles.
yeah,
Like, sure, this guy destroyed his marriage by trying to, or life by trying to marry a prostitute, his
yeah,
personal life, but it didn't necessarily like impinge on his business in the same way that DiCaprio's character being a quaalude-addled sociopath
yeah.
affected him in Wolf of Wall Street.
Right, yeah, or Ray Liotta in Goodfellas, being coked out of his mind. Yeah.
Right. Actually, okay, so was he doing an awful lot of drugs? I recall like his wife doing a lot of drugs.
Oh no, he was doing drugs. No, yeah, I don't remember, he had those like two girlfriends. He was going
Oh,
over to their place all the time, and they were constantly
oh,
snorting cocaine.
oh, okay, yeah, you're right now.
Yeah.
Uh, it's been a couple days since I watched it, but anyways, yeah, like it's
You were talking about Casino?
yeah, Casino.
I thought you meant Goodfellas. No, no, no. De Niro wasn't doing drugs. No, he
Yeah,
had although he was taking medication because he had ulcers, which was
right.
understandable. But yeah, I don't.
Right, with the stress he was under.
Right, yeah, yeah. I think the only one doing drugs was Sharon Stone. Um, but I will say the other part of the movie that I found a little unbelievable is okay. Spoilers. Three,
Oh,
two, one.
I wonder if
Um,
okay.
it's Joe Pesci and Sharon Stone having an affair.
Okay, so what you could believe that Jim Belushi could pick up a random um, hot blonde doctor in Spies Like Us, but
But Joe Pesci couldn't get Sharon Stone. I don't know.
is that what you're saying? Because it sounds like that's what you're saying.
Well, okay, okay, you got me there. Okay, all right, all right, all right. Point disproven.
Well, now it's just be consistent. But the other spoiler thoughts, which is also related to Joe Pesci, it's about the movie's end. So if
Oh
we've made this sound at all appealing to you, close the video now. If you want to hear us talk about it, go ahead and open us up later.
yeah,
But I suspect that if you watch the scene, you're going to know the scene we're talking about because it's going to stand out.
yes, yeah.
So, okay, you have until 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, the death of Joe Pesci's character is just brutal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they handle it in a really neat way. Because it's like the whole time they've been switching between different narrators, and that's kind of another thing that makes it like a little distinct is that usually you would stick to like the one narrator through these movies,
Yeah.
but like it was more of an ensemble piece than a star piece, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, because they would it would swap between De Niro and then Pesci.
Yep. Um, and so Pesci thinks that he's going out to meet the Kansas mob in a cornfield,
Mm.
and that he's going to be bringing his brother in on his operation in Vegas. And he's in the middle of his monologue when suddenly he gets the first aluminum bat stroke to the back.
Yeah, yeah, and then they beat his brother to death while he's watching.
I don't think in any movie I have ever seen him cry before.
Yeah, I don't think the only other one I can think of, maybe one of the Lethal Weapon movies, but not crying. But that was not like not the same crying. Yeah, this was like sobbing. Yeah,
Yeah, like just piteously wailing as he begs for his brother.
yeah,
Please stop. He's still breathing. And then they just
yeah,
stop for a second, look at him. It's right back to the savage beating.
yeah. Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, that actually happened. Like that's the thing about this movie, according to the video that Daniel found for us. So let
Yeah.
me go ahead and give it a plug. It was over at
Joe Blow.
Joe Blow.
Yeah.
This movie was actually reasonably accurate uh, by biopic standards. Like if you the only time you make yourself sound silly if you watch this instead of reading the associated book that came out the same year. Uh, you would somebody like there was never a casino called the Tangiers. What are you talking about?
Mm.
Like most of the rest of it happened, and the cornfield incident happened. Like that was nuts.
Yeah. 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 That was oof. Yeah, and then they buried them while they were still alive.
Yeah. Which
Oh,
oof.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so not as fun of a movie as some of the other ones, but like it's still very good, and it's currently on Netflix.
Yes. Until the end of the month.
Which thankfully it's towards the start of the month, so you have some time.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Well, yes, definitely recommend. But I think we've said all we need to say for tonight.
Agreed.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, ring the bell, all that good YouTube stuff. Buy some books, and we'll see you next week. Night, everybody.
Good night.